about parallel perpendicular lines one more time. Things to remember. Parallel lines have exactly the same slope. So parallel lines. What about perpendicular lines? They have negative reciprocal slopes. Or we flip the slope and change the sign. So those are the two big things you need to know. We have a point, negative 2, 3. So if we're finding the parallel line, here we know my slope is positive 4 taken from this equation. We know my point is a negative 2, 3. So we're going to use point slope form. Remember, y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. So you say y minus 3 equals 4 times x minus. Now this minus sign is the problem. We're plugging in a negative 2. Don't lose your signs. So then you distribute. Y minus 3 equals 4x plus 8. Add 3. Y equals 4x plus 11. They're parallel. They have the same slope. If we're finding our perpendicular slope, we take our parallel slope. We take that. Let me see if I can get it. Give me a second. We take our slope, which was 4, and we find our perpendicular slope. So we flip the slope, because we put it over 1, so we make it 1/4. It's positive, we change it to negative. So flip the slope and change the sign. So now, this is the slope we are using. We are also using the exact same point. The point is negative 2, 3. And we say y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. So y minus 3 equals a negative 1/4 times x minus what? Our negative 2. Don't forget to fix these two negatives into a positive. So we have y minus 3 equals, well, negative 1/4 times x, that's an easy one, negative 1/4 x. And negative 1/4 times 2, put this over 1, we multiply tops times tops and bottoms times bottoms. It's a negative 2/4. Can you simplify that? Yes, you can simplify that to what? You can simplify that into a 1/2. All right, then we add our 3. So we get y equals negative 1/4 x plus 2.5. Now, if you think of that as 0.5, 3 minus 0.5 is 2.5, 2.5. All right, I think this is our last problem for these notes. And just like one of the ones we did before, first thing is find slope. You do that with m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So you say your slope is negative 2 minus 2 over 3 minus 6 is negative 4 over a negative 3, which is because a negative and a negative makes it a positive 4/3. Now, when they do not tell you what point to use, you get to pick. I'm always just going to pick the very first point so we're all on the same page. So we have our slope, we have our point. We're going to use the point 6, 2. You could have used the other point, but I'm just making us all pick the first one so we're all together. Now step 2 is use point slope form. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x is my